almost live. Let us know in the chat who is a woman that inspires you or what is your favorite weekend activity. So we're almost live. I'll briefly share Design Buddies. Cool, I'm just waiting for the progress bar.
Nice that Angie said that working moms are a huge inspiration. Like I think the same. I'm not a mom myself, but I have seen a lot of moms out there rocking with business, with design, with life, doing everything and some more. So it's really inspiring indeed.
Yeah, same here. When I was a kid, I was like an annoying kid, so I can't imagine my mother having to deal with me as well because I would just like scream at random times. But yeah, anyways, we're recording now, so that's okay. But yeah, honestly, like kudos to all the working moms out there. I can't imagine. Yeah, cool. So welcome. I'll briefly share my screen really quick and then I'll hand it over to Karla. But yeah, welcome design. If you this is a build off of our part 1 event, but if you haven't attended part 1 about building a design buddies app, no worries. We'll be going over a brief refresher of what happened. But about design buddies, it was like honestly this random community I made in April of 2020 and it blew up. And we are basically a place where all designers, like whatever level you are, you can come here and gain a lot of workshops and a lot of like content to help y'all level up your design career. And so we have a lot of events, workshops, resources, mentorship, a lot of stuff. And we've actually hosted like over 100 events now. And feel free to connect with us on all of our social media platforms. And for a quick house rules, events are recorded by attending the grant consent. But if you don't wish to be part of any part of the recording, you can watch this event on YouTube by just searching Design Buddies. We're also live streaming on there as well. So this event is recorded. Feel free to engage in the chat. You can talk to each other. You can vibe. If something resonates with you, just feel free to like bounce off each other's. You also have a networking sheet where you can connect with all of our buddies here. We won't have a Slido this time, so you can just drop your questions towards the end on Zoom. Towards the end, we also like to take group selfies, and we also have some Zoom backgrounds in case y'all want to twin with us. If something resonates with you, feel free to also share on social media, tag us. We always retweet, we share our Instagram stories, connect with each other, hop into Discord, have fun. And yeah, thank you. With that, I will hand it over to Karla.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you all, the ones that haven't been here the last time. I welcome you. And if you have been here the last time, good news for you. We are keeping our progress of the project we started last week, the last workshop that was about doing the Design Buddies app. So if you are just arriving here and you have no idea what's happening, you can really take a look at the YouTube channel from Design Buddies and check the first video of that was the first workshop video recording. And so now I will share briefly what we have done the last time. So can you all see my screen?
Yeah.
Great. So what we did last time was more or less like, I know that many of you guys here either are designers or aspiring designers, UX designers or UI designers, and both of the positions really fit into this. So here we are doing an app design. And in this app design, like what we treat in the first workshop was more or less how you would treat this project if it would be coming from a customer, or maybe even if it would be coming from your company that you work, right? So in this case, I got a project that's called the Design Buddies app, and then I spoke a little bit with Grace about how it would be the app, what would be there, and then we came up, she came up actually, with the information architecture, and here it is, what was done. So we would have a home page, we would have a search page, a content page with some recordings, some blog articles, have also about page about Design Buddies, have some app features, right? The search, and also like categories for Ask a Mentor, that you have this channel on Discord. and the pages were connecting between each other. So after that information architecture, Grace did a wireframe sketch, which I think is great. Like once you have an idea for an app or for a project, it's always good to think more or less how it would work or what kind of content would be there. Like some images, you see these squares with X's in the middle, like titles, like a little bit of a description, how it would be, the content would be defined. So here you have some blog articles, event recordings, like you have the FAQ key that would be divided by category. Then you would have a search, and always you see Grace did a very nice work to doing the drawings, adding like a little bit of life to it that really fits what Design Buddies is. And if you think of the website, she kind of translated a little bit of what you have on the website and what you have on your Discord channel into this app. So you would have also here some questions and answer, like from the mentor part, and also like a search would give you like articles as results, maybe video games, maybe some questions. Is there anything that you want to add, Grace, at this point?
Yeah, it looks good to me.
Great. So then we last time we did add some of those screens together and add some little like icons, like an image from what Design Buddies is, which would be an icon. We added a Lottie file to act as our animation. So if you click here, you can see that this is the loading of the app, and it's like two buddies that has also to be with Design Buddies. Really cute. And we added a blog list with a blog post here. We didn't have then a real data. We had like some kind of testing data on Airtable. So I will show you what was the Airtable here, the other one. So I believe actually that I have removed it. So no worries. Maybe it's this one. Maybe it's not. That's not so important. What we see today, yes. So we used this one last time just to show how to bind these products to our project. So today what we do is that we use this data here from Airtable that was also given by Grace. So later on what happens is that she doesn't need to go through the app and go there to change things, but she can come directly to the database and just add it. And if you ever used Airtable before, you would say this is really like an Excel. It's really simple to use. I would even say that's much more powerful than Excel for sure, but like it's very simple to use. And there is also there is already one thing that I would like to say here that's a good practice, at least for Bravo. So once you have records like that, there is one that's half empty and just with one of the topics, you see that you kind of break. So here you don't have records that have, this one is totally empty. So I would recommend already that you should keep your tables clean as possible. So in this case, you have 1 point here, so I will leave it. But if it's just a line without content, just should remove it already. So coming back to Figma, we just did that, and we spoke about a menu. So how to create a menu and use prototype, like you see a prototype here. Use prototype to have this feeling that you have this item of the menu selected. And I will also display that on my phone just for us to follow up with it. And here I just did add the tag skip because we were not able to finish the whole app. So for today, what we try to do is to improve a little bit how this looks, because look at this. You guys have created a very beautiful design for the app. So there are some things that we, like as a UI, UX designers, that you should take into consideration. Like for example, we start creating this app into iPhone 11 size, and these screens are much bigger. And this may be what you get from a project before implementing an app. Like it could be that some other designer did the project and you are just here to translate the design into a real app using Bravo. So what's really important is for you to have consistency. And this consistency is also very important into design itself. If you see the size of a screen, 390 for 844, is much bigger than the iPhone 11 that we started, and we should have all the screens at least having the same weight width. So this, we could just maybe put it here and then scale just for the sake of having it quicker. Why we did that? Okay, if you think today, when you are designing, you should really take into consideration the smallest screen size. So if you want, or if you really can, best would be for you to go to iPhone SE, that is really small. But you know, the point is that 70% of the phones nowadays have this size. And that's why I would, in fact, recommend you to use this size of phone. In Bravo, it resizes itself when this smaller screen. But the point of having one size to you to design is that, let's say here, I just copy and paste. Let's say here that Bravo, you just resize this down. And of course, in this case, the menu bar would be visible on the bottom, but then you don't know exactly where the content will be. So it's always good for you to have one screen that's really what you believe most of the users you see. In this case, again, I recommend iPhone 11. So I go with it. This kind of, so this is one of the points. The second point here is that when I received this design, I didn't do anything yet, right, guys? I'm doing it all with you here live. So I'm putting all the considerations that I would do for any other customer, and you should do the same. So I have here size of 20. I have also very small sizes of phones, like 10 and 10 and 10. You see, like all these 10s, and also here I have a little bit bigger, 12. I tell you, like maybe I'm old, but I would say that those sizes are too small for, like, you know, like for you to have on the videos, like the label of the section. It's totally fine because people don't really care so much about what's the name of that section. But once you have things that you need to read too small, that will be really hard and painful for a lot of users. Not everyone has the same eyesight. So I would say that's a good size of body font would be 17 or 18. Like if you want to go the smaller side, I would go to 16. But this is also kind of good practice, but it's not a rule. Like the project can be yours or can be your customers, and sometimes as designer you also encounter these problems with your customers. The customers come to you and say, like, you know, I want this button to be, I don't know, let's say this pink, but then you say to your customer, like, but this is not really, doesn't have accent enough for the users to see it, right? It's really light, doesn't have really good contrast. And what you can do is to show the contrast ratio and to show that the other people might not see that as you see, and also speak about the screen itself. Lyft did a very good study one of these days with their app, which what happens is people are using Lyft to, like, it's a little bit like Uber, right? Like it's the same kind of service. But what happens is that, so drivers who are using the app and also people that want to move from place A to place B, right? And depending on the screen, their color brand would look very different. And in some of the screens, there would not be contrast enough for the color that they called accent color. So it was very hard to read. That's very important. So it's just one of the points you need to take into consideration. In this case here, you have, you can go to such a tool like, I put it here, contrast checker. I really like this website. It's very simple. You just come to the color, copy the code and say in which background this is. So you see, doesn't have very good contrast in white, for just has minimum contrast for medium size fonts, right? So here you have a one that's very small. Of course, you have the icon too, which helps. So what you can consider is to either to go to a different tone that is similar but has better contrast ratio. You see, like here, for example, this is already much better. So you could do that, and then you could see here, let's say that instead of this red, you would use this one. You see, this one's much more legible. So it really depends on what can be done and what cannot. Like if this is set stone, yeah, sure, use it. If it's not, try to enhance it for your users, because that is also part of the experience that you have with your app, with your product. So, okay, that said, maybe, is there any questions so far?
Oh yeah, someone asked in the chat, what's the most common size for Android app that you should be using?
So Material Design has a lot of good resource there. I would say that's the same. I think 16 is the base font size, but we can definitely check. I am really not good at remember everything from head. I know that on Apple is 17, but you can see here for sure there is base font size. No, so base font size, base size. So let's say typography. So you have here body 1. They don't have here the size itself, but I believe it would be around 16 too. Oh, hey, here, so you have a 16 on a button, so probably that's the smallest. I would say so. Because normally it's 16, 17, 18. Another question?
Yeah, I think they meant like what frame, the size of the phone. Like you talked about using the iPhone 11 frame, but what about like Android?
Oh, so this is amazing. Bravo does the, like, you know, you, of course, you could go also to Android, right? Android is small or Android larger, like they have they are a little bit smaller than the iPhone 11, but they are not so big difference, right? So it's 375 for 812. So you see the difference between Android, like let me put the iPhone because then you see the frame name. You put the different colors here too for you to see. So this is blue, this is red. So you see, actually the Android you fit inside the iPhone. It's really small change. So that's why this is the most common size. But the other thing is that this is so small that it won't hurt it to resize a little bit to a smaller size. And when you build Bravo apps, the amazing magic about it is that you just need to do it once. And then you have files for Android and files for iOS coming up from the same file, just using this kind of, responsive design. So scaling.
Awesome. Thank you. That's awesome. The next question is material design usually used as industry standard? Maybe you could talk a little bit about how do you know how did you know like which iPhone size to use, or how would you go about like researching those kind of things?
Okay, so I know that 70% of the users use iPhone 11 because of a research. I have no idea where I got this from, but I tell you that is there somewhere. If you go Google it, you see that the most common phone is 6.1 inch. That is that size.
Cool. Yeah, I guess the question was, is material design usually used as industry standard, or where would you go when deciding these things, like Apple human interface guidelines, or maybe you could talk a
I
little bit more
see.
about that. Yeah.
I see. So you can build always different apps, right? Like for example, if you would wish to the experience to be a little bit more closer to what the operational system is for Apple or for Android, you definitely could tackle a different version for Android and a different file also for iOS, and then really do those tricks, because Android has this back button, iOS doesn't have it. So, and then there are a bunch of things that you have to remove in order to make it the perfect experience for the operational system, right? But it doesn't like both of them have good points and they don't exclude each other, I would say. Like, you know, in terms of design, they are just different. Like once you are using material design, you are using components and thinking as Google does with their product, right? Like maybe adding a plus in the middle of the screen and doing these menus that go on the side. And so it really depends if you want to give your user an experience that is towards Android or their operational system itself, because or something that you create, right? Like the apps I have created so far work the same for both of the products, and I think that is good and bad. So if you are, let's say, I realized with my own products that I think I don't have the number now by head, but I did a research, and what I know is that I have many more Apple users or iOS users than Android users. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because people that use Android don't like to download apps. I don't know if it's because it is not interesting to them, but I know that I have many more users on Apple than I have on Android. And since I also have an iPhone, that's much easier for me to test too. And I always test for Android as well. I use my husband's phone when in this case. And it's always a little bit tricky, right? Because I'm not used to the system and I may use things different. So what I do most of the time is I put the phone on his hand and I tell him, like I do a test with him, like, oh, can you sign up here into this app? Or can you give him a task related to the app and see how he does it? And if he does anything that I would be extraordinary for me, I try to tackle that in a different way that would be feasible for both iOS and Android. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I guess it just really depends on what your audience uses and what the resources you have and going with that. Because there's a lot of
Yeah,
tools like Bravo
definitely.
that like resizes based on like all the different
Exactly.
designs.
Exactly. So you can offer the same app and see later on, let's say you have a lot of Android users and they are having a little problem, or you should improve something directly for them. Then you can create a new version that's just for Android and do those little changes there for them.
Yeah, sounds great. I think that's all the questions for now.
Okay, amazing. So guys, let's go for it. So I'm going to start maybe, so we did here already, like the blog list and the blog posts. So what I do, I grab here the blog list that's here and see if there is a blog post detail page. I don't think so. No. I will also grab, let's say, the search and the home, and then you just add here for us to recreate. So those right now are not anywhere. So since we don't have that much time, so what I do is you just grab those here and add here to this page. So you see here there is a bunch of groups and content and so on. So what I do here, I try to do that. So okay, here I do have a container, so I will hide that. I try to, so we have here Design Buddies. I just add a content there, a container. So a container in Bravo works for you to put content inside and simply put this on the list. So you have here the top one that that is not displaying anything right now, and we could put a color or so, but I would leave it empty. Then we have this here really touching the same place, you see? So these two lines are really touching each other right now, and then you drag this down, great. And here on top we have already a Bravo tab that's called status bar dark. So since we have white, the status bar dark means that we have these numbers here in black there too. So we have these two done. Then we have an image, which I think right now it's like a static image and also a static title. So I will add this also inside one container. So you can just put this two, put this down, and then get this image and this title inside this new container here. Also adding the tag container. You don't need to know every tag by heart. So there is this Bravo Studio Tag Manager that once you run with one of the frames selected, you see there is a tag container. If you don't know it and you just remember that there is like something like container, so you just update and then it comes here. So you can see you can also remove it and update, so it gets removed. So I put it again and update, so you can go like this for everything. So you have already these two as well. So now we have the fun part. We have here videos and we have articles. So from the blog, we consider articles. You see that there are two items here, but we just need one because this will be a list that you come from Airtable, right? So I will remove this, and these articles, I will also create a new container just for articles. So I will put these also inside the container. And remember, not everything is like a set stone. You can always revisit and test and see if everything is right and done. So here will be the blog list. Right, so this is a container 2. Here we have the content that is like there is this background, and then you have a title and also a name. So here we have limited space. And there are two ways to tackle this. One would be to go to Airtable and kind of limit the size of the title for this to not break out. And then you would have also like the author here, right? So I will just extend these two to be the same size. So you see here, now they have the same width. And I will even go further, maybe like this, because you don't know what you be, right? I will also just put this like that. You can really use the space. You can even use auto layout here. Bravo doesn't really recognize auto layout, but it doesn't, like many times it won't destroy your app, but it is like auto layout. Sometimes you can type, if you don't know what I'm talking, I will just put it here. So this is my name. I just click Shift A, and when I click Shift A, I am having an auto layout here, which means that right now it's hugging contents. So if I come here and I change my name, so let me put border just for you to be able to watch it grow. So if I want to put my surname, this box gets bigger. And that Bravo doesn't do, it doesn't get bigger, but it won't get smaller. So like for this case here, just for the reason of you knowing, okay, this would be like 8 or 4, like it was 4 between one line and then another. So you can have here like a fixed width or fill container. It won't make any difference because it won't get bigger. And the other point here that I want to say is that, for example, here the word like this, and we could use tags that would do this on Airtable, but like if you don't use, it would be like that. Sometimes we design things and we put things looking a little bit different. You see, like here, she cut the text on wax. She, or the designer, I'm talking she as a designer, I'm a woman, so, but it can be that it was a he, I don't know. Grace, do you want to share who did the amazing design?
Yeah, I was on product design team in Design Buddies.
Oh, great. So the product design team, so let's go for they. So they did here, like for example, the first one, I will just hide this menu. The first item starts here and then finishes, and then it has a line break here, but the other, since it's bigger, doesn't have it, you see? So that's what I'm talking about. Like if this is coming from a database, okay, they also have just the same here. It's because of that breaks, it's right. But you know, why not, if you have all this space, why not go a little bit further, right? If it maybe can be that you have a title that's bigger. So what I would recommend is for you to have the same kind of line guidelines, right? Like here, for example, would have like this, and you put it like this, just for you to see the guidelines here, here, and here. And once you see here the size, just for the design of the things itself. So you see that this is 8, so we would come to the other side and then do the same. So here, then I would finish this actually there, like here, and then would be like consistent, right? Even though right now this is a bit off center because we were resizing it, so I will just put it back to center. But you know that you have 8, 8, 8, and that's well designed. You just put a color here on top of the image just for you to see where the image is coming from. So here we have an image that's coming from database. I just put an asterisk for us to bind this later on. Then you have the background. So the background will be repeated. I actually like to put this as a BG. Then you have the rows here for the content. And then you don't need this group, right? And you also don't need this group. Then you have, so the view more and articles. This here is repeated, right? I would even, like this is centralized right now, so I would leave like this. But this is repeating, like this box, right? This list. But the top is not. So I will actually remove this and create a new container just for this part. So I will do it from here to here. Let me take out and just put, remember that these containers should be really container should be really one attached to the other, right? Like touching the other. So here you see I did a mistake. So right now what you can do is to resize this, but right now things here are kind of left. I put left top, actually left top. So I just do this, then you'll be able to rescale. Actually, I take it off first. And now you come here, and this you come here, and you ungroup. There is another thing here to take into consideration is that this, once you clip content, you see that's white there, but if you don't clip it, it's not because of the shadow. So this is a little bit complicated with the shadow. Either you have to do this item as a little bit bigger and then repositioning it for it to not break the shadow. So you see that this will be all kind of shown. So it still have a shadow. I don't know if you can see the little difference still. So right now it's not touching here, but if I go too close, I am actually removing the shadow. Do you see that? So I do that like this. So this group you be repeated. Here we have a title, so you just put as a title. This is not coming from anywhere. And here you have a view more. Like I would also align everything, either like in this case here, I would also create something like a guideline. Like here, I don't know how much it was, but what I use as a designer to do is like a 16, but here is 20. So it's definitely fine too. That's really up to you. Here it doesn't need to be the same size. It can be if you want, but if you don't, it's definitely fine. But I would say that at least some of the points like articles and view more and so on, the areas would be nice to have, but I will keep it like that. And then later on the product team can decide. Here, what you do, you just do the same, right? So here you have articles, we can do this and we can do this, so that they at least are the same alignment with this item here. And then videos and view more, since we don't have that section yet, I will just add it here as a container too. I moved it a little bit, so I will remove this content. Then first come here and touch the other. So you see all the containers are the same. And add here video container. So this you just keep it like this, and this you try to bring it from the database like we had before. So it would be more or less like this. So this is a list and has a container tag. Here the same way, you see. So what more? Let's put here, this is a title and this is the author. Right, so we have background, we have an image, we have a title, we have the author, and we have a background, and we have a blog list, and that is our page. So we can remove this one. Right, so I will remove this one here. Actually, no, I won't. So what I will do is this one, right? I probably will remove the search because we probably won't have time enough to do this. So I will go for the blog articles now. And what I will do, I will copy first, like this one, because you know, we have the same container here. Don't you agree? So I will just copy. And okay, for some reason, I actually kept this size of 390, which is crazy, because I am just saying to not do that. So you just resize and then put everything centralized. That's it, guys. So here we have this content. We do it from the center. Then here and here. So everything's good. Here we have the same, so I just paste it here. And we have the block container. Let's check on the prototype. We have home and content. So home is here, content is there. That's great. And then here you have also the container list. So the title is a flexo. We don't need the flexo tag here because we are not repeating. So I will just add it like here. So I will just copy these two as well and add here to the top. So you can add now a new container just for the top, for the title, top bar. Here, container. Do you guys have a little bit more time today? Because this is taking a little bit of a while, right? So what I do here is just to add a link back to this. A good thing too would be for you to actually increase the size of this, because this is too small for people to click on, but I won't do that right now. You could also just direct the whole section, right? So I would actually do this. So if you want to go, it's a little bit strange, but okay, what I will do is that I will create this rectangle that's coming here, that has, yeah, most of the time it should have at least 44 pixels. So, you know, even if it's transparent, so you can have it here and remove that color from it. So you don't need a color. I like to add the top bar, so I actually add this content library to the top bar. And then I just leave the blog articles inside the title container. So we have the top container, we have the blog articles, and we have it repeatedly. And then once we click here, we also have the detail and so on. And once we click here, we also have the detail page. The one thing here is that the back button may need like close instead of going back, because maybe since you have two pages leading to the same place, you don't know where the user came from, if it was from this list or this list, right? So here we may just, instead of back, we use a close tag. So we can come here to the plugins, then search for action close. And then you have it done. So this should be a modal page. That's it, guys. Let's remove this. And what I will try to do pretty fast right now, you be to connect things on Airtable. So for Airtable, we start with a new collection. Then we get the Airtable wizard. We come here to the database we have, and then we get to not manage, sorry. Enable the base. I think I actually I don't have access to these.
Let me try adding you right now.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, but I have the impression that it wouldn't work, but maybe it does. Like maybe I'm wrong. So yes, it works. So here you have the database that it's those. So we have the FAQ, blog, and videos. We just consider the blog. So we have here the list, and then this is the request. So when we hit send, you see that it's coming here, all the records and what we have in each of the records in here. So let's see content. Like, where is the content? So we have a title. So we search here for a title. And then you have 22 actionable productivity tips. That is exactly this one. So it is working. So once we go to the app, to the Design Buddies app, you hit refresh because we already imported it. So what you do is that you get all this design kind of changed right now. So there is a problem importing. So let's see a container. So it's saying that there is a container outside somewhere. So we check here. We have a container here, container, 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 and a container. So I remove this one. Everything here is fine. Here it also has a container, another container, and another container as well. Good. So I will save and see if this fix. There was one thing there that was wrong. If it doesn't fix, let's hope for it. No. Wrong setup of the container element, so expanding outside the parent frame. So this is not, this is not, this is not. Okay, so there is this one. So you see this is going outside. So are you just coming inside? That's fine. So let's see here. It's good, good, good. So let's try again. Again. Container as well. So there is a problem with one container, which right now I'm not guessing which. Let's try. Is there any questions? One container.
So a quick question from Eduardo about can you share a specific role for a specific customer in Airtable so they can't edit other customer rows? I'm not really sure what you mean by that.
So can you repeat, Grace? Because I also got lost.
Yeah, they asked, can you share a specific row for a specific customer in Airtable so they can't edit other customer rows? I'm not really sure where customer rows are from. Maybe you could clarify.
I believe what is happening is that he's asking if you can say like, oh, this one you can edit, but the other user cannot. Is that why? Is that what you are asking?
Oh, like editable versus not editable rows.
Okay. Yes, and you can block things and you can also give different accesses. Like for example, this here, it's done for several people. So you see, we are all creators, like, and Grace is the owner, but you could also, when you are admin of this table, you can give different roles to people. So some can just comment, some can edit, some can create, some can remove, delete, and so on. So you can give different roles.
Oh, awesome. Looks like you answered the question.
Guys,
yeah,
very upset to not find this error. What it is that is not working. I hope we can get to. So before we used to see the problems here, and right now it's not showing. And okay, I do this just to debug. I put the tag skip on this one and see if the problem is in the other page or if it's that specific page, because if it loads, then okay, I just add skip everywhere and then try to see where is the problem. So saved again. Maybe this file is changed. Okay, I just copy this link. Maybe that's the problem and I didn't realize. So I create a new app. This is how you import a new Figma file. And no, there is a issue, really. Okay. So I add skip here. This file was working and I don't know. Maybe there is something new going on, because we didn't do anything out of ordinary, to be honest. So here everything has a tag skip, here too, and here you don't have anything outside of these items. And even right now we just have almost everything on skip. So I add here a skip too, and then maybe just add a frame, a clean frame, because this might not be me. These products change all the time, and then sometimes, like sadly, we can encounter, which is good. They are launching soon, like more languages. So guys, like, I don't know what's the problem. I cannot import the file. The file is right. And right now everything has this tag that's called escape for you to be able to not get it. And I cannot get to this. I am sorry for that.
Yeah, it's no worries. I know we're almost at time, so
yeah.
So,
well, we did some of the file already, and hopefully, like the idea would be for us to come here. You just pretend we have the new design. So we would just take the list and then be able to come here to the container and say that from this, we will take the Design Buddies app, the blog list, and then we get to all the records. And then we would loop the image that it's we can put the thumbnail or the full URL, for example, or the large URL. I think large URL is in time size enough. And then we can search for the title too. And once we did this, so let me see if this will work at least on Bravo Studio. Just for you guys to see that we correctly just did integration with Airtable. Even though it's not the new design, this would be the way that we would connect the design to the actual design that's there that is not updated. So I am loading Bravo Studio here. Is there any other questions in the meantime, Grace?
There's one from Colin. Do we have to put an asterisk for each variable for the data binding to work?
That's a great question. So you don't have to add any asterisks. The point is that once you have the asterisks, they stand out. Once, like, sometimes you have a huge numbers of layers and you don't know, or maybe you even have the same thing repeated twice or 3 times, and then you don't know where to connect what. So this way you are sure that those places you need to connect. So that was the reason why I have added this. So right now I will share my phone with you guys with the old design. So this is the old design that we started with today. Let me get work off here. And if we go to content, you see that these 3 items are already the 3 items that we have on Airtable, the 22 actionable productive tips. So if we go click on it, now it's not loading anything, and we can really do that. We can load already the second part as well with this content. So this would be what we would do. But you see the menu on the bottom is already working and should keep working. And the search and FOI key, it's not working because we didn't add new screens for it. But you have the posts coming from Airtable, sadly not with the new design because there is an issue, but that should work fine, and we could test it out next time and see how it goes. Like I don't know if Grace okay, desktop, so I opened here. So you see we did do the list record with the Design Buddies app, and the Design Buddy apps, there were the 22 actionable, productive, what the heck tag, one weekly, and those 3 items were loaded in the app, even if with the old design. So I will try to load one last time just in case we get to. No, there is a problem. I don't know what's the problem, and I will try to discover and get back to you about this.
Yeah, it's no worries. Troubleshooting is part of the process. And it's probably something that people run into as well. So it's good to look into it, make sure everything is all aligned. Yeah, I know we're at time. Do we want to take a quick group photo?
Yeah, guys, like let's turn on the cameras.
Yeah, I had to run to another meeting soon, but I'll count down 5 seconds and you can take a group photo. All right.
Reese, Angie, Always, I hope I said your name right. Joyce, Nika, Cesar, Caroline, Josel, V.
Okay, no worries. If you don't want to be, if you want to turn your camera on, then you can still react. And then.
Nice to meet you, Brenda. Oh, I love you. Shiny Fernandez. Oh, this is cool. I have a cousin here.
All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Cool. Thank y'all so much for coming. Hope y'all have a nice day. Oh, I see that it all reacts. Cool. Hope y'all enjoy the rest of your Friday Junior. And with that, I'll stop live streaming to YouTube.